Instagram's familiar blue glow reflects in my eyes as I scroll through my feed, a momentary break from the press release I've been crafting all morning. Sunlight streams through the blinds of my Austin office, casting alternating bars of light and shadow across my desk. Another day at Whitmore PR, another deadline to meet. Then I see it. My finger freezes mid-scroll. I blink, certain I'm mistaken. But the image remains unchanged. My sister Amber, sunglasses perched on her nose, champagne flute in hand, sprawled across the bow of a catamaran. The turquoise waters of Turks and Caicos spread behind her like an impossibly perfect backdrop. But it's not the ocean or her designer swimsuit that makes my stomach drop. It's what's casually displayed in her other hand. A glint of gold catching the tropical sun. A rectangular piece of plastic with my company's name embossed along the bottom edge. My gold business card. No, I whisper, my fingertips suddenly cold. I zoom in, heart hammering against my ribs. There's no mistake, Whitmore Public Relations LLC, my name beneath it. My mouth goes dry. I feel a tremor beginning in my hands that has nothing to do with my morning coffee. 4 days ago, I sat beside my mother's hospital bed, explaining the new platinum card I'd opened. Margaret Whitmore had just undergone knee replacement surgery, her face pale against the sterile white pillowcase, her gray hair fanned out in a way that made her look suddenly older than her 62 years. "It's just for your rehab expenses, Mom," I'd explained, placing the small debit card in her palm. Small things, like medication, co-pays, and transportation. Tears had welled in her eyes. "You shouldn't have to take care of me like this, Shelby." "That's what daughters do," I replied, squeezing her hand. "It has a small spending limit. Just use it when you need it for recovery stuff, okay?" The memory dissolves as my office phone rings, yanking me back to the present. I answer without checking the caller ID. "Shelby, honey." My mother's voice comes through, strangely cheerful. "Have you seen Amber's photos? Isn't that resort gorgeous?" I told her to send me a real postcard, but you know how she is with remembering things like that. I grip the phone tighter, my knuckles turning white. "Mom," I manage, my voice unnervingly steady. "How is Amber's vacation going?" "Oh, she's having the time of her life. Just what she needed after that horrible breakup. The girl works so hard. My sister hasn't held a steady job in 3 years. And how is she paying for all this?" A hesitation. Just long enough. Well, I imagine she saved up. A vague memory surfaces, Mom asking for a second card months ago when I was buried in client work. A request I'd barely registered. Something about emergencies and keeping track of family expenses. Had I actually authorized this? I rack my brain but come up empty. I end the call with my mother and immediately text Amber. "How are you paying for all this?" The response comes almost immediately. "Thanks to your card, sis. Don't worry, it's gold." My hands are shaking for real now. I called my mother back. "Margaret," I say, using her first name, something I only do when I'm furious. "Do you have one of my business cards too?" A long pause. "I might have gotten a card for emergencies," she finally admits. I hear rustling then. "Yes, I have it right here." "And you gave one to Amber?" "Shelby. She's been so stressed lately. She needed this break." I grip the edge of my desk, steadying myself. "That's not your decision to make. That's my business account. Don't be dramatic. It's just a little vacation. You have a successful business." I hang up without responding and open my banking app. The numbers hit me like a physical blow. $47,612.19 in charges over the past week. Resort stays, designer boutiques, first-class airfare, spa treatments, all from the same IP address pinged from Amber's beachfront hotel. An email notification pops up. From the resort's concierge, confirming an upcoming sunset cruise for Miss Whitmore and guest. Attached is an image of the card on file. My full legal name, Shelby Ann Whitmore. I called my mother one more time. "Did you know about this?" "About what?" Her voice is defensive now, brittle. $47,000, Mom. That's what Amber has spent in a week." "It can't possibly be that much," she scoffs, but there's uncertainty creeping in. "It is. And I need to know if you knew about this." A sigh crackles through the line. "Amber just needs a break for once. You have a successful business." The words strike me like ice water. This isn't just fraud, it's identity theft wrapped in family guilt. The betrayal cuts deeper than the money. They've used my name, my reputation, my business credentials. I end the call without another word and turn to face the wall of my office. 3 framed awards hang there, recognitions from the Texas PR Association for campaigns I've built from nothing. Client testimonials. The physical manifestations of 7 years of work. This isn't just money, I whisper to the empty room, my voice hardening with each word. This is my name. The weekend stretches before me like a battlefield. My laptop screen casts a blue glow across my living room as Saturday morning light filters through half-drawn blinds. I've barely slept, my eyes burning as I scrutinize every transaction from the past month. The timeline unfolds with devastating clarity. The first charge, Louis Vuitton luggage, $4,200, appeared exactly 1 day after I sat at Mom's hospital bedside. While Margaret was still foggy from post-surgical painkillers, Amber was already swiping my gold card through a designer store's card reader. Jesus, I whisper, scrolling further. The resort booking predated Mom's surgery by 2 weeks. This wasn't opportunistic theft, this was calculated, premeditated. A plan set in motion while I was arranging Mom's hospital transportation and hiring a temporary nurse. I opened Amber's Instagram in another tab. Her latest post shows her lounging on a private deck, an infinity pool stretching toward the horizon. The caption reads, "Living my best life. Blessed. Luxury travel. VIP status." Each tagged brand is a breadcrumb trail of my stolen credit. My phone pings with an email notification from the resort concierge. I force myself to open it. Dear Miss Whitmore, as requested, all charges have been applied to your sister's business account. The champagne tasting has been confirmed for tomorrow evening. My stomach clenches. She specifically instructed them to bill my business, not just using my card, deliberately invoking my company name. My hands curl into fists, nails biting into my palms. Monday morning arrives with a clarity I haven't felt in days. The offices of Rourke Legal occupy the 12th floor of a downtown Austin building, all glass and polished wood. Maya Rourke, corporate attorney and occasional PR client, greets me with a firm handshake and concerned eyes. "You look like hell, Shelby," she says, leading me to her office. "Thanks for seeing me on short notice." Maya settles behind her desk, fingers steepled. "So, your sister maxed out your business credit card on a tropical vacation." I slide the folder across her desk, transaction records, screenshots, emails, texts, everything meticulously organized over my sleepless weekend. "I need to know my options," I tell her. Maya scans the documents with practiced efficiency. When she looks up, her question is direct. Civil or criminal? The word hangs in the air between us. Criminal charges against my own sister, my own mother as an accomplice. The thought should make me hesitate, but instead I feel a surge of cold resolve. Both. Maya nods, no judgment in her expression. "Let's start with the card issuer. We'll file a fraud claim immediately. They're required by law to freeze the account and investigate. And the charges? My business can't absorb this hit. Your business insurance should cover it under theft protection. The insurer will reimburse your company, then pursue Amber through a process called subrogation." She taps her pen against the desk. "We'll also file a service complaint against the issuer for failing to flag these abnormal transactions. International charges, luxury purchases, those should have triggered their security protocols." For the next hour, we dissect the case like surgeons. 2 clear antagonists emerge. Amber, the primary betrayer, whose psychology of entitlement shines through every transaction, and Margaret, the enabler who authorized the secondary card despite knowing my business couldn't withstand such a financial blow. "You understand what's at stake here," Maya says, not a question but a statement. I nod. My business reputation if clients discover we're financially vulnerable, my family relationships once I pursue legal action. I pause. My mother's recovery is potentially jeopardized by the stress. "You didn't create this situation," Maya reminds me. "They did." She drafts documentation for the card issuer while I stare out the window at the Austin skyline. Buildings I've spent years networking in, establishing my name as reliable, trustworthy. How quickly that could all unravel. My phone buzzes. Another Instagram notification from Amber, a sunset photo, champagne flute in hand, the ocean spread before her. Something snaps inside me. I type quickly. "I hope the sunset's worth it. The fraud unit will be calling soon." Her response comes almost immediately. You wouldn't dare. We're family. Maya glances over my shoulder and highlights the message on her tablet. Perfect proof of intent. Keep all communication. Don't delete anything. Back at my office, I implement immediate security measures. I change every business password, revoke all account access permissions, and create new authentication protocols. My office manager watches silently as I methodically lock down everything my sister might potentially access. When the building empties for lunch, I stay behind. Alone in my office, I find myself removing family photos from my desk, Margaret at my college graduation, Amber and me at Christmas last year. I place them face down in a drawer, one by one. The pattern emerges with painful clarity. Amber's emergency car payment, 3 years ago. The rent she couldn't quite make last fall. Mom's tearful call about property taxes they were behind on, always becoming my responsibility, my burden to solve. I open my leather-bound business journal and write with deliberate pressure. This stops now. Claire knocks softly before entering, a cup of coffee in her hand. Thought you might need this, she says, placing it on my desk. Thanks. I close the journal. Can you let the team know we're implementing a new phone policy? No calls from family members are to be put through to me. Take messages only. Claire nods without question. We've got your back, Shelby. My office manager steps in later, closing the door behind her. The card's been frozen, she reports, and I've notified our insurance about the claim. For the first time in days, I feel the tension in my shoulders ease slightly, a shield forming around what I've built. That night, for the first time since discovering Amber's betrayal, I slept without waking. The next morning brings an email notification. Claim processing initiated. Insurer investigating. My phone is filled with notifications, missed calls from Amber. Voicemails from Mom, her voice tearful, accusing me of betrayal and lack of compassion. But the card is frozen. Amber's resort access was suspended. The system is working as it should. Alone in my apartment that evening, I find myself staring at the family photos I've brought home from the office. Still face down, now in my bedroom drawer. When the tears come, they're silent, falling onto my hands as I sit on the edge of my bed. This victory, necessary as it is, comes at a cost I'm only beginning to calculate. Another Monday morning arrives with the steady rhythm of rain against my office windows. The weather feels appropriate, a constant, relentless pressure matching the notifications lighting up my phone. 3 missed calls from my mother since dawn. I've been screening them, focusing instead on the client proposal due by noon. My office line rings. Claire, my office manager, appears at my door, concern etched across her face. It's your mother online too? She says. I told her you were in meetings all morning, but she insisted it was an emergency. An emergency. The word that's been leveraged against my better judgment for years. I exhale slowly, straightening my spine. Put her through. When I lift the receiver, Margaret doesn't wait for my greeting. You're destroying your sister's life. She spits, her voice trembling with fury. Over what? A mistake? Some money that insurance will cover anyway? I swivel my chair to face the window, watching water track down the glass in jagged rivers. Stealing $47,000 isn't a mistake, Mom. It's a felony. She meant to pay it back. With what money? The job she doesn't have? This will follow her forever, Shelby. A criminal record. I close my eyes. She should have thought of that before she told the resort concierge to charge everything to her sister's business account. If you go through with this, Margaret says, her voice dropping to a whisper that cuts deeper than her shouting, you'll split this family forever. Is that what you want? To destroy the only family you have over money? The line goes dead before I can respond. I replace the receiver with deliberate care, my fingers trembling slightly. Claire knocks softly. Everything okay? I nod. Just family being family. Later, scrolling through my social media accounts, I find Amber's latest post. A sepia-toned photo of her as a child, me standing behind her with protective hands on her shoulders. The caption reads, thinking about how toxic family members care more about money than love. Some people forget where they came from. The comments section overflows with supportive messages from friends who know nothing about what she's done. I close the app and open a folder on my desktop labeled, For When They Forget, created 5 years ago, after the 3rd time. Amber, borrowed, rent money. It contains meticulous documentation of our financial history, 5 years of unpaid loans, texts promising repayment, bail money when Amber's previous boyfriend got caught with unregistered firearms in his car. A subfolder contains screenshots of messages between Margaret and me from 3 years ago. My mother, tearfully explaining how she had co-signed on a store credit card for Amber, who maxed it out and vanished for 3 months. Margaret begging me to help make the minimum payments to protect her credit score. I hadn't realized until now that I'd been keeping receipts for half a decade, preparing evidence for a confrontation I never intended to have. I opened the most recent folder images from Amber's social media accounts during the week she claimed to be helping our mother recover. Photos tagged at luxury restaurants. A selfie with a French makeup artist at the resort spa, all while Margaret was supposedly struggling with pain management at home. An hour later, the intercom buzzed. "Shelby? Your mother is here." I freeze. "My mother is here? At the office?" "Yes," Claire responds, her voice careful. "Should I tell her you're unavailable?" I glance at my watch. "No, send her in." When the door opens, Margaret stands in the frame, leaning heavily on the cane she's used since her surgery, her right leg stiff, face drawn with pain or the appearance of it. Her eyes, so similar to mine in color but not in warmth, scan my office. "Nice place," she says, as though she hasn't visited 4 times before. "Business must be good." "It was," I say, not offering her a seat, until my own mother and sister stole my identity. She limps forward, each step a theatrical wince. "Don't be dramatic, Shelby. Amber made a mistake. She's young." "She's 27, Mom. I was running this business at her age." "Not everyone is like you." She lowers herself into the chair across from my desk, uninvited. "Some people need more time to figure things out." 7 years of figuring things out on my dime isn't young. It's taking advantage. Margaret's face crumples, tears welling. "How can you be so cold? She's your sister." "And I'm her victim." I slide a folder across the desk. "These are your physical therapy appointments for the week Amber was posting from Turks and Caicos. You canceled all but one." Her mouth opens, closes. "The pain was too much." "Pain that mysteriously improved enough for you to fly 5 hours to join her? The resort confirmed your arrival, Mom." The door opens. Maya Rourke, my attorney, enters with the precise timing we arranged this morning. Her presence shifts the energy in the room, immediately cool professionalism against Margaret's emotional theater. "Mrs. Whitmore," Maya says with a polite nod. "I wasn't aware you were joining us today." "This is a family matter," Margaret says, suddenly sitting straighter. "Actually," Maya responds, setting her briefcase on the edge of my desk. "This is a business matter involving identity theft, credit fraud, and potential conspiracy charges." Claire appears at the door, tablet in hand. "I've documented Mrs. Whitmore's arrival time and appearance per your request," she says to Maya. "The security camera footage has been archived." My mother looks between them, recognition dawning. "You're treating me like a criminal?" "We're creating a record," I corrected her. "Every interaction, every threat, every attempt to manipulate the situation is being documented." My phone rings. The caller ID shows Thomas Blackwell, my first mentor in the PR business, and now a major client. "Excuse me," I say, answering. "Thomas, thank you for calling back." His gravelly voice comes through clearly enough that I know Margaret can hear. "Shelby, I heard what happened. My daughter's firm handles cases like this all the time. Your name is your business in this industry. You're doing the right thing." After I hang up, Maya hands me a thick envelope. "The insurance adjuster called. They're reimbursing the full amount, and they've officially categorized this as identity theft and fraud." Margaret stands, swaying slightly, her cane suddenly less necessary. "You'd put your own sister in jail? Your own mother?" "The DA's office is reviewing the file," Maya interjects calmly. "It's out of Shelby's hands now." After they leave, I sit alone in my office as afternoon shadows stretch across the floor. For the first time since discovering Amber's Instagram post, the knot in my stomach begins to loosen. That night, I slept without anxiety dreams, without waking every hour to check my accounts or scan social media for new attacks. In the morning, I stand before my bathroom mirror, meeting my own gaze directly. "I didn't destroy my family," I whisper to myself. I'm protecting my business. 2 days later, Claire forwards an email from our building's security company. Someone egged my car overnight. The security footage shows a familiar vehicle. Amber's boyfriend's dented Camaro with the Texas flag decal on the back window. Maya adds the footage to her growing file. We'll need cameras at your home, she says. They're escalating. That evening, a technician installed a doorbell camera and motion sensors around my apartment. I watch him work, thinking about how quickly security has become my new normal. Maya has drafted a temporary protective order, ready to file if needed. All communications are archived, all social media documented. Just after midnight, my phone chimes with an alert. Someone is at my front door. On my laptop screen, the security camera feed shows Amber standing on my doorstep. Her mascara has run in black rivers down her cheeks, her hair pulled back in a hasty ponytail. She looks younger suddenly, more like the sister I helped through her first heartbreak than the woman who stole my identity. My phone vibrates with incoming texts. Please just talk to me. I can explain everything. Don't do this, Shelby, please. Through the camera feed, I can see her boyfriend waiting in his car at the curb, engine running, headlights cutting through the darkness. Amber raises her hand to knock again, more insistently this time. Her face contorts with a sob visible even through the grainy night vision feed. My finger hovers over the alarm button on my security app. One press and the system will trigger, alerting both the security company and police to an unwanted visitor. One press, and there's no going back from whatever line we're about to cross. Family or business. Sister or CEO. Amber knocks again, harder. I made my decision. The security camera's red light blinked steadily as I watched Amber's face contort on my phone screen. Her mascara had begun to run, black streaks marring her flushed cheeks. Behind her, the porch light cast harsh shadows across features I'd once thought mirrored my own. Now she looked like a stranger. Shelby, please, she pleaded, her voice tinny through the doorbell speaker. Just open the door, we need to talk. I took a deep breath. Maya's instructions running through my head like a mantra. Record everything. Admit nothing. Keep physical distance. The camera was already saving this interaction to the cloud storage Maya had set up. I can't talk to you during an active fraud investigation. I said, my voice calmer than I felt. Any communication needs to go through the proper channels. Proper channels? Amber's voice rose an octave. I'm your sister. We don't need channels between us. This isn't personal, I replied, the words feeling strange yet right on my tongue. It's business protection. Her boyfriend stepped into frame then, his face tight with anger. Jeff, that was his name. The one who'd convinced her she deserved the finer things, regardless of who paid for them. Listen, he barked, leaning toward the camera. You've left us stranded. Do you understand that? The resort locked us out of our room. We had to borrow money to get home. That's what happens when you use a fraudulent payment method, I said, finger hovering over the emergency button on my phone. Fraudulent? Amber's laugh was brittle. Mom gave me the card. You've humiliated me in front of everyone at that resort. The manager made us pack in front of other guests. I remained silent, letting the recording capture every word. You're just jealous. I finally had something nice. She spat, tears streaming now. While you hide in your office working yourself to death, I was finally living. Is that what bothers you? Before I could respond, Jeff lunged at the door, his fist connecting with solid oak. The impact reverberated through my entryway. Open this goddamn door! My finger pressed the emergency call button without hesitation. Police have been notified, I said evenly. I suggest you leave my property. The pounding continued, Jeff's face a mask of rage. I turned away from the screen, back pressed against the wall, and slid down until I sat on the cool hardwood floor. My hands trembled, but my resolve held firm. 14 minutes later, the flashing blue and red lights painted my living room walls. Through the security feed, I watched 2 officers approach Amber and Jeff, still on my porch. One officer spoke with them while the other knocked on my door. I opened it just enough to show my face. Officer, thank you for coming. The female officer nodded, notepad already in hand. Miss Whitmore? I'm Officer Daniels. Can you tell me what happened here tonight? Within 20 minutes, I had filed an official incident report, downloaded the security footage to the officer's email, and learned something that sent a chill down my spine. Your sister's boyfriend has a prior for assault and criminal mischief, Officer Daniels said quietly. We'll add this to the report. Would you like to pursue a temporary protective order? Yes, I said without hesitation. My attorney has the paperwork prepared. Later that night, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts from family members I hadn't spoken to in months, some taking sides before even knowing the full story. Aunt Patricia, someone needed to set boundaries with that girl years ago. Call me if you need anything. Uncle Robert. Family problems should stay private, Shelby. You've taken this too far. I scrolled through Facebook to find distant cousins I barely knew, sharing cryptic posts about financial abuse and family loyalty. My company page, however, told a different story. Colleagues had rallied, leaving supportive comments and sharing posts about business integrity. Claire had coordinated the entire response without even telling me. The official papers were served to Amber at her apartment the next morning. By afternoon, Margaret was calling. You're destroying your sister, she sobbed into the phone. Is this really what you want? I didn't do this, Mom. Amber did, and you helped her. She made a mistake. People make mistakes. I ended the call and went back to work, losing myself in client presentations until my doorbell rang again that evening. The security feed showed Amber alone this time, standing straighter, anger replacing tears. I opened the intercom. Yes? You'd destroy your own sister over money? She demanded, voice sharp enough to cut glass. The question hung in the air for a moment before I found my answer, the truth I hadn't been able to articulate until now. This isn't about money, I said finally. It's about my name and the right to say no. Something flickered across her face, recognition, perhaps of a boundary she'd never encountered from me before. She left without another word. That night, the first fracture appeared between my antagonists. Margaret called Amber while I was on the line. A three-way conversation I hadn't agreed to but didn't end. Why didn't you tell me it was that much money? Margaret's voice was different, harder, accusatory. You knew I was going on vacation, Amber countered. Not a $50,000 vacation. I hung up, letting them fight their own battle for once. The next morning, I brought a formal letter from my insurance company. The civil recovery process had begun against Amber. Separately, Maya confirmed that the district attorney's office was reviewing the case under identity theft and access device fraud statutes. At 2:17 a.m., an email arrived from Amber's account. Please drop it. I'll pay you back. I can make payments. Please, Shelby. I waited until morning to respond. Pay the insurance company. They own the debt now. Margaret's response came an hour later. What kind of daughter ruins her family to prove a point? I didn't answer. Instead, I called Maya. If my mother cooperates with the investigation, can we exclude her from the criminal referrals? If she admits she gave the card without authorization and testifies if needed, probably, Maya replied. Why? Second thoughts? No, I said, surprising myself with how certain I felt. Strategic thinking. When the local business journal called that afternoon, asking for comment on a prominent local businesswoman filing fraud charges against a family member, I directed them to the PR team I'd assembled for exactly this purpose. That night, for the first time since seeing that damning Instagram post, I slept without waking, without the knot of anxiety twisting my stomach. No dreams of drowning in paperwork or family accusations. Morning came with sunlight filtering through my bedroom blinds. I stood before the mirror, shoulders back, and spoke the words that now felt true. I'm not a victim. I'm setting an example. The newspaper sits on my desk like a bomb. Austin woman charged after using sister's business credit card for island vacation, reads the headline. My name isn't mentioned, but it doesn't matter. In Austin's interconnected business community, everyone knows. My phone has been chiming all morning with texts from colleagues, some supportive, others uncomfortably curious. I take a sip of coffee, scanning the article. Words like fraud, identity theft, and family betrayal jump out at me. The reporter managed to get a quote from Amber. This is a private family matter that's been blown completely out of proportion. No mention of the $47,000 she spent pretending to be me. Claire knocks on my office door. Your cousin Daniel is online too. Third family member today. Tell him I'm in a meeting. I turn back to my computer, where I've been monitoring the fallout. Amber's Instagram account, once filled with champagne flutes and catamaran selfies, has vanished. Her Facebook, too. As if erasing her digital footprint could somehow undo what she's done. My phone vibrates with a text from an aunt I haven't spoken to in years. Family problems should stay private. You're making a terrible mistake. The flying monkeys have been dispatched. That's what Maya called them yesterday, the relatives who appear out of nowhere when someone challenges the family hierarchy. They'll try to talk sense into you, she warned. Stand firm. My office phone rings again. My mother's number. I let it go to voicemail, but listened immediately. Shelby Ann. Her voice is thick with emotion, that particular blend of disappointment and manipulation she's perfected over the years. You need to withdraw these charges. Your sister will never recover from this. Is that what you want? To destroy Amber's life over a mistake? Call me back immediately. 1. I deleted the message. For 3 days, Margaret has refused to attend her physical therapy appointments, her newest form of protest. The rehab center called yesterday, concerned. I arranged for transportation directly to her sessions, bypassing her need to schedule them herself. My personal email pings. From Amber's boyfriend, a man I've met exactly twice. Subject line, family dirt. The message is 2 sentences. You think you want this to go public? I have stories about your family that would make great headlines. I forward it to Maya, adding it to our growing harassment file. The preliminary hearing is scheduled for next week, and every desperate attempt to make me back down only strengthens my resolve. A notification pops up on my screen. A new review on Google for Whitmore Public Relations. 1 star. Unprofessional and vindictive business practices. Would not recommend it. Posted by a blank profile created yesterday. My desk phone rings again, Maya. The insurance investigator called, she says without preamble. They've found evidence this isn't Amber's first rodeo. I grip the phone tighter. What do you mean? There were previous attempts to access your accounts. 3 declined transactions on your business debit card last year, attempts at cash advances, and an application for a store credit card in your name that was flagged by the fraud department. My stomach twists. I never knew about any of this. The DA's office is reviewing everything. They're considering additional charges based on the pattern of behavior. Maya's voice softens slightly. Shelby, this is bigger than we thought. Are you prepared for that? For a moment, doubt flickers. Is this too far? The criminal charges, the public exposure, the family fracture that will never heal. Then I remember Margaret's dismissal. Amber just needs a break for once. You have a successful business. As if my success were a resource to be pillaged rather than something I'd built through years of work. I'm prepared, I tell Maya, my voice steady. This was never just about the money. On the confrontation day, the courtroom is smaller than I expected, the wood paneling darker. I smooth down my charcoal suit, chosen carefully with Claire's help. Professional, dignified. Nothing flashy that could be interpreted as vengeful. Amber sits across the aisle with her attorney, a handkerchief clutched in her trembling hands. She's wearing a pale blue dress that makes her look younger, more vulnerable. Her mascara is slightly smudged, as if she's been crying but trying not to ruin her makeup completely. The calculated victim. Our mother sits directly behind her, jaw tight, refusing to look in my direction. The judge enters, a woman in her 60s with silver-rimmed glasses and an expression that suggests she's seen every form of family drama possible. She reviews the file briefly, then looks up. Miss Whitmore, she addresses me, as the complaining witness. Would you like to make a statement? I stand, feeling the weight of every eye in the courtroom. My throat tightens, but I push through it. Your Honor, I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to reclaim my name. The words come out clear and measured. I opened a credit card for my mother's medical expenses following knee replacement surgery. Instead, my sister used it to fund a luxury vacation, deliberately misrepresenting herself as me to resort staff, and spending nearly $50,000 in the process. I explain the purpose of the card, the betrayal of trust, the shock of discovery. With each word, my voice grows stronger. When I finish, Maya presents our evidence, the timeline of transactions showing premeditation, the concierge emails confirming Amber represented herself as me, Instagram posts establishing her intent and knowledge, text messages proving she knew exactly what she was doing. Most damning are my mother's conflicting statements about authorization, first claiming she had permission to give Amber the card, then admitting she knew the card was only for medical expenses. The judge listens, occasionally making notes. When the evidence presentation concludes, she removes her glasses. "Miss Amber Whitmore, please rise." Amber stands, her lower lip quivering. The court orders full restitution to the insurance company in the amount of $47,612.19. You will serve 36 months of probation and complete mandatory credit abuse counseling. During this time, you are prohibited from opening any new lines of credit without court approval. The judge's gaze is unflinching. Family trust is a sacred responsibility. You violated that trust repeatedly and with calculation. This court takes such violations seriously. As we exit the courtroom, Amber brushes past me in the hallway. "You happy now?" she whispers, her voice hollow. I look directly into her eyes, seeing past the mascara tears to the entitlement beneath. "No," I reply calmly. "I'm free." Behind her, Margaret stands frozen, silent tears tracking down her face as the reality finally sets in. The power she and Amber held over me through guilt and obligation has shattered. Several extended family members who came to support Amber are watching, their expressions shifting as they witness the aftermath. Walking down the courthouse steps into the bright Austin sunshine, I feel the weight lifting from my shoulders. For the first time in months, I take a full, deep breath, the air tasting like something I'd forgotten: independence. 3 months had transformed Whitmore PR from a battleground to a sanctuary. Shelby surveyed her office, now bathed in morning light filtered through new blinds. The space breathed differently, walls repainted in pale sage rather than corporate beige, her awards now joined by framed client testimonials. Growth, not just survival. "Lisa and Thompson confirmed for 11, Claire announced, setting a coffee on Shelby's desk. "They're excited about the integrity campaign." "Major healthcare accounts used to terrify me," Shelby admitted. "Now they feel like the right challenge." The staff meeting that morning hummed with purpose. 10 faces instead of 4. Clear boundaries established in the employee handbook. Company resources remain within company walls. Every new hire signed acknowledgement of the financial safeguards. Shelby had implemented dual approval for expenses over $5,000. Automated alerts for unusual spending patterns. Back in her office, Shelby touched her phone, scrolling to contacts. Margaret and Amber remained in her address book, but with a simple designation beside each name: blocked. No more 2 a.m. calls about family loyalty. No tearful voicemails insisting, "Family means forgiveness." The silence had been deafening at first, then peaceful, now simply normal. Her computer chimed with an email notification from Austin Business Journal. "Interview request, fraud-proofing your family business's podcast." Shelby smiled. The podcast interview would be her third public speaking engagement since the court case. The insurer had returned the full $47,612.19. Rather than putting it back into operating expenses, she had created something unexpected: a micro-grant fund for victims of family financial abuse. The first recipient called yesterday. Maya had reported last week over lunch. Similar situation. Brother emptied their mother's accounts, blamed the sister when she reported it. Shelby's journal lay open on her desk, last night's entry visible. "I mistook people-pleasing for love. Enabling for support. Guilt for responsibility." The handwriting grew steadier as the entry continued. Unlike the shaky scrawl from those first dark days. She touched the thin silver bracelet on her wrist, custom engraved with SWLLC, not flamboyant, just a quiet reminder. Her name, her company, her choice. Yesterday, she had authorized the final payment for Margaret's physical therapy. Insurance covered most, but Shelby settled the remainder anonymously. She wouldn't attend the sessions, hadn't since the day in court, but some responsibilities transcended anger. Thanksgiving plans now involved dinner with Claire's family instead of her own. Chosen family, Claire had called it. New traditions formed around honesty and shared values rather than obligatory blood ties. The financial literacy workshop last month brought unexpected healing when a young woman approached afterward. "My parents keep asking for startup investments," she confessed. "They call it supporting the family." Shelby had taken her card, written on the back. Your business isn't your family's ATM. The woman called the next day, ready to set boundaries. Walking home that evening, Shelby caught her reflection in a downtown storefront. Shoulders straight, eyes clear. 3 months earlier, she would have seen only guilt staring back. Crossing Congress Avenue, she spotted Margaret waiting at the opposite corner. Their eyes met briefly. Shelby nodded once, acknowledgement, not invitation. Margaret returned the gesture before the light changed and crowds separated them again. Forgiveness isn't reunion, Shelby thought, continuing homeward. It's release. The weight that had pressed on her chest for years, the crushing responsibility for everyone's happiness but her own, had finally lifted. In its place, the lightness of choice, the freedom of boundaries, the quiet confidence of owning her name. My name is Shelby Whitmore, she thought, unlocking her apartment door. It belongs to me alone.